Hi my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tori if you're new, and I am so stinking excited that you're here. We are doing my mid-year reading journal flip through. So if you're new to my channel, every month I do a reading journal monthly setup, but I really don't get the opportunity to show my finished spreads, and then I also have spreads that are in the beginning of my journal and also sections at the end of my journal that are my readathon spreads, my notes sections, and things like that I really love, and I want to share them with you guys. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your snack. If you haven't had any water yet today, drink some water, and we're gonna get right into it. So I use the Archer and Olive A as an alpha 5 journal, and I love this size. I know that this is one of their smaller journals. I just really love it. I like that the pages are a little bit smaller because it forces me to be smart with my space, and I don't like to have a lot of empty space on pages. So when I was using a larger journal for my reading journal, I felt like there was a lot of wasted space. That was just my little intro page, nothing super crazy there. And then this is my word of the year page, and I did this little watercolor of a deer and her baby. And my word of the year is safe, because I wanted to feel safe just being myself and sharing myself on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram, because that can be really intimidating sometimes. This is my first annual spread. This is my bookshelves, so it's all the books that I read throughout the year. When I finish them, I write them on my bookshelf, and I color them in by the genre that I'm reading. So I have a little key down below, and then I have a second page of my bookshelves so that I don't run out of space, because that's such a fear of mine. Then I do my reading log. So again, I write the book that I read with the author. I also put the date that I finished it and my star rating on this page. And then who doesn't love printing out book covers, am I right? But I didn't want to have to print out book covers for every single book that I read, like Books with Chloe loves to do. So I kind of took inspiration from her spread, except this is only my 5-star reads of 2022. I was a little bit worried that I would run out of space on this page, or on these 2 pages, but I'm finding that I'm being more selective with my 5 stars in a good way, because I'm only giving 5 stars to books that absolutely capture my entire heart and soul, and books that I would 180% reread. This is actually one of my favorite spreads in my journal, and I was a little surprised because I thought it was going to be kind of stressful, but it's not. So on the left, I have my squares that I color in for each book that I read, and my goal that I stuck with from last year is 80 books, because I know that as long as I stay on top of it and keep my normal reading pace, I will definitely hit that 80. On the right side, I have my actual reading goals of the year. So I wanted to do at least 3 readathons, at least 2 buddy reads. I've already hit those goals. I wanted to learn more about analyzing books and describing them, read at least 2 classics, read authors of different countries and make more of a mindful effort to do so. Don't be intimidated by big books or long reads. And I feel like I'm doing a good job with that one as well, with some of the bigger books that I've selected this year. And then the last one is to just enjoy the book that you are currently reading. Then I have those 2 spreads of my top 10 favorite books, my 2022 reading stats, and then this one, which is just a quote from one of my favorite books, The Chosen and the Beautiful, and then my favorite book of 2022 spread. So these I will fill out at the end of the year. Then we have my series tracker page. If you are a fantasy reader, I highly recommend putting a series tracker page into your reading journal. So far this year, I've been able to complete the An Ember in the Ashes series, A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and The Cruel Prince. And once the last book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series comes out, I will finish that one as well. It is so incredibly satisfying to color in these boxes. 100% recommend. Roses, roses. I'm throwing roses. Let's talk about another spread that is extremely satisfying to fill out. This is my 2022 most anticipated releases. Actually, pat on the back to me for keeping up with these. I'm currently reading My Dearest Darkest by Kayla Cottingham and loving it, and The Agathas is also on my list that I'm going to read very, very soon. This next spread is not my favorite, so I will quickly just mention it's how I track how many physical, audio, and ebooks that I read each month. I just don't love the format that I did this in. I feel like it would be better as a true, chart and not all these individual bubble boxes. Anyways. Then we're starting to get into my monthly spreads. So starting with January, I love this spread so much. This one of my February spreads with the watercolors. When I was flipping through these again to film this video, it really made me want to get back into watercolor. So my January theme of the month was a walk through the wilderness, like a winter wilderness cottagecore type vibe. And I just really, really loved it. And then also returning to some of the quotes that I read in the spread was such just a heartwarming experience, to be honest. Light It Up from my Crescent City reread, absolutely love it. Also the quotes from The Cruel Prince, the one all the way at the bottom that says, "Desire is an odd thing. As soon as it's sated, it transmutes." Oh, stunning. Also the fact that I wrote a quote from These Hollow Vows, blasphemous. I hate that book. My February theme was a forbidden love type theme, and I love how this one came out as well, and I just kept a very similar format or structure to it as my January spread. February was the month that I read Heartbones, and the quotes that I pulled from Heartbones by Colleen Hoover were so damaging, emotionally damaging. And then also this quote from A Spindle Splintered, "What do you call the vast nothing between the pages of the universe?" Stunning. March, I was so over watercolors, so I drew these cute little ducks. This is probably my favorite spread so far of the year. I just love everything about it. Says spring to me. Everything about it made me so happy. I just wanted to look at this spread all stinking day. I loved the little ducks. I thought they were so adorable. I just really liked the color palette, and tulips are such a happy flower. You know what I mean? Also, if you want to see how I create any of these spreads, just a reminder, I do have monthly reading journal setups with me. So I have a whole playlist on my channel of all of my reading journal setups. Go check those out if you're interested. My favorite book of March hit so hard. Winterset Hollow is one of my favorite books of all time. I was shocked that I just stumbled upon this book from Kindle Unlimited, and this quote that I pulled from it, all of the quotes and all of the sentences in this book are quite long-winded, so I was like, how am I going to fit this all on one page? But the older I get, the more I feel the desire to let it all go, or I feel as if I'll never be happy again, and I do wish to be happy again. I understand your inclination to rage at your past until you can't rage anymore. Then we're on to my April spread, and you probably saw that it didn't start with my title page for April. That's because I don't know how I did it, but I started creating my title page and this calendar page that we're seeing, and I went back and I had skipped a bunch of pages, and I was like, how did I even do that? But regardless, this is my Cruel Prince inspired April spread. I love the Folk of the Air series so much, and I love how this came out with the bumblebees and all the flowers and the weeds and the mushrooms. Such a vibe. April was the month that I moved across the country, so I didn't put a lot of quotes in here. My reading was very sporadic, but I did fill out my favorite book of the month, which was Empire of the Vampire. Loved. I've talked about this book 1,000,001 times on my channel, so I'm not going to get too into it because I don't want you to be sick of me, but this spread, my May spread, was inspired by The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I really liked the spread with all of the doodles and stuff that I did, but I'm not the biggest fan of the bright color palette. And the book was very bright and colorful, so like I had to do it justice by going with bright colors. But I always shy away from really, really bright color palettes. So this one is just kind of a shock to my system. I loved how the fish came out on my to be read page. It's like one of my favorite doodles in my journal so far this year is this fish on this page. I think it's so just like pretty with its scales and its like little fins. She's a pretty girl. And then the superlatives that I did opposite of my to be read, I actually really liked that as well. Like my most surprising book of the month, my lowest rated, and then my favorite characters that I encountered. I really liked doing that. I might do like a annual spread instead of doing that monthly and have it be like a superlatives of 2022 or something like that and do a bunch of those kind of categories. I still have to do my favorite book of May spread, so that's why that page is blank. And then the quote opposite of it is from The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and it says, "Nothing extraordinary is ever done out of reason or logic, but because it's the only way for your soul to breathe." And then we're on to June. We're halfway through 2022, you guys. How insane is that? And so June, my theme is just, this is a fun word to say that I haven't messed up on 1,000,000 times, celestial, goddess, and witchy vibes. I really just wanted to use some stickers and keep this very simple and fun and not have to do like a lot of drawing or painting or anything because I wasn't feeling super creative. So that's what we're doing for June. Now we're getting into my two sections that are in the back. My first section is my Readathon section. So I just made this little tab that sticks out that says Readathons, and then I did kind of a title page to section off this part of my journal. So I have a couple spreads back here. The first one was the book buying ban readathon that I did kind of like for myself in February for the last about 10 days or 2 weeks of February. I just had so many books on my physical TBR that I had to get through before I would allow myself to buy more books. So I did pretty well. I read, I think like 6 or 7 of these books before I allowed myself to buy anything new. It worked really well. And this template I got from Instagram just by @JazzinBooks. Back here, I'm also putting any of my annual reading challenges. So this is my 22 books for 2022 list. So I've read 10 of these so far, which is not bad. I'm almost halfway at the halfway point through the year. So I need to just make sure that I'm giving this list my attention for the rest of the year, but I'm very optimistic that I'll be able to complete this challenge. And I kept this spread really very simple. I just put a heart next to the book once I've read it. The next readathon spread was for the Aurelium Spring Equinox syllabus. Thank God for my friends telling me that I set this up wrong. I didn't realize that you couldn't just do whatever courses you wanted to. It was based on your like character that you made. You had to take certain courses. So that's why you see that I crossed out artificery and animal studies. And so I just ended up reading for my alchemy class, my astronomy, and my art of illusion. But I'm really happy with how this spread turns out. I feel like it gives off very like dark academia, witchy school vibes. So it was really fun. G is just such a creative genius. Like I appreciate her so much and everything that she does for the book community. The Magical Readathon is one of my favorite readathons. I think it was the first readathon also that I ever participated in. And I was like, yep, I need more of this. Then the last 2 readathon spreads that I have in here, there was Spring Flingoween, which I had every intention of participating in, and then I had a work trip that I had to travel for that was scheduled right for April 27th to the 30th. and so I really couldn't participate in it. And I was so sad, but the spread is so cute, okay? I'm very proud of it. And then also, the stickers on both of these spreads actually came from Redbubble. I thought that the skull with the little ghosties coming out of it was super cute. And then the Readathon spread that's on the right-hand side there is the Asian Readathon that takes place for all of May, and I did participate in this one. It was really, really fun. I loved it. I actually found one of my new favorite books, The Keeper of the Night. It's a duology that I cannot wait to get to the second book. And also Death by Dumpling was this really cozy murder mystery. It was just a really, really fun time. And also any of the Studio Ghibli stickers that you find on Redbubble, absolutely stunning. So this one is a still shot, I guess you could call it, of Howl's Moving Castle. And of course, I saved a bunch of blank pages for other readathons throughout the remainder of the year. And then we're getting into my last section. I'm not gonna lie, this watercolor cottage that I did is probably my favorite page of my entire bullet journal. I still can't believe that I did this. Like, this came out way better than I could have ever imagined. So happy about it. Anyways, humble brag. This section is where I'm putting my notes and kind of my studies of how I can describe and analyze books better. Now, these are things that I did learn how to do in school, but it's just been so long, and I found that when I was creating some of my videos, I was saying the same things. Like, I love the characters in this book, and I love the plot and the conflict and blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted to be able to better describe books to you guys and just have it be, I don't know, like a better understanding, I guess, of the elements of the writing style, of the characters, of the plot, all that fun stuff. So that's what a lot of these pages are. You'll see I have one for theme and one for conflict. I did another page on characterization. That's what this section is for me, but I just love it. Like, these spreads bring me so much happiness. And then I also have a spread for some of my favorite tropes. I needed to write them down because I feel like I will read a trope and I'll be like, this was so much fun, and then completely forget about it until I read it again. So I started a list of tropes that I love. And then the last little page or spreads in this section, one is for the SIFT method of writing, and then again, analyzing writing styles. And it has to deal with being able to identify symbols in a work, imagery, figurative language, and then ultimately being able to identify the tone and the theme. So that's the SIFT method. And then this last spread is for pre-orders, which I know seems a little bit random that it's just like in the back in my notes section, but I realized that I wanted to track my pre-orders. There's only one on the spread so far because I just made this spread like last week when I pre-ordered The Empress of Time by Kylie Lee Baker. And then the quote at the bottom of this page says, "I will not apologize for choosing myself this time because we deserve to buy books for ourselves." Okay? If you're a New Girl fan, please let me know in the comments down below and what your favorite New Girl quote is. Mine is 100%. I'm not convinced I know how to read. I think I just memorized a lot of words. That is everything to me. So thank you so much for watching this video. This is my mid-year reading journal flip through. I hope that you had fun. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, friends.